على رسول الله وعلى نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل يا رب العالمين. ما زلنا في كتاب الحج والعمرة في كتاب عمدة الفقه. We are still in the chapter or the book of Hajj and Umrah in the book Umdatu al-Fiqh by Ibn Qudama rahimahullah. And today we are doing the chapter of Bab Mahdhurat al-Ihram, the chapter of the unlawful acts during Ihram. So in this chapter we discuss things that are impermissible to do while in the state of Ihram, whether you're in Ihram for Hajj or for Umrah. And there are different categories of mahdhurat, or things that are unlawful, haram things. Some of them you have a choice. If you do it, you have a choice. You can either slaughter a sheep or fast 3 days or feed 6 people. Others you don't have a choice. You have to slaughter a sheep or you have to slaughter a camel, for example. And in this chapter we'll discuss the things that are haram, and in the chapter after that we'll discuss the penalties for each act and what is due upon the person if he does any one of these things purposely. So the author, he says, rahmahullah, وَهِيَ تِسْعَةٌ, and they are 9. حَلْقُ الشَّعْرِ وَقَلْمُ الظُّفُرِ فَفِيهِ ثَلَاثَةٍ مِنْهَا دَمٌ وَفِي كُلِّ واحد مما دونه مد طعام وهو ربع الصاع وإن خرج في عينه شعر فقلعه أو نزل شعره فغطى عينيه أو انكسر ظفره فقصه فلا شيء فيه. He says there are 9 things. Number 1, shaving the hair. So if you physically shave your hair, this is something which is impermissible. Number 2, clipping the nails. If he does this to 3 hairs or nails, so if he takes out 3 hairs, so 1, 2, or 3, or 3 nails, then he must sacrifice an animal. If less than 3, then for each one, so if he does 2 or 1, and for each one is a mud of food due from him, and that is 1/4 of a sa'a, which is slightly more than 500 grams or half a kilo of wheat or barley. If hair got into his eyes and he removed it, so for example there's hair stuck in his eye or blocking his eye, and he removes it, or if his nail is broken and he clips it, so sometimes your nail, it gets cut, it gets broken, and it's very painful or annoying, right? So you clip it off. Then there is nothing required of him. So if there is something bothering you in your eye and you remove some of the hair, or there's something, one of your nails got broken and you decide to take it out, then there is no penalty upon you. Then he says, الثالث لبس المخيط إلا أن لا يجد إزارا فيلبس سراويل أو لا يجد نعلين فيلبس خفين ولا فدية عليه. Then he says the third one is wearing fitted sewn clothing unless he does not find a lower garment and hence wears trousers, or if he does not find sandals, so he wears leather socks. In these cases there is no expiation due upon him. So if a person wears clothing, for example, he wears a thawb, something that fits his shape, like a shirt with a sleeve, or a pants, something that fits his body, is sewn for his body. So if he wears that, then that is from the mahdhurat al-ihram, things which are unlawful in the state of ihram. The exception is if you don't have an izar for your ihram, so you don't have that, so then you wear trousers, you wear pants, then that is permissible, only if you're not able to find it. Or if you do not have sandals, then he can wear a leather socks. Then he can wear a leather socks on his foot. And there is no expiation for him on that. There is no expiation. الرابع تغطية الرأس والأذنين منه. The fourth one is covering the head and the ears are part of it. So covering your head, so you should not be wearing a shimal or a hat or an imama, a turban. These are things that are forbidden, or a hat. And you're not allowed to wear anything to cover the head, and the ears are part of the head. So covering the ears also is not permissible. Al-Khamis, the fifth, الطيب في بدنه وثيابه, applying perfume to his body or his clothing. So applying perfume to his body or clothing during the state of Ihram. However, as we mentioned the day before, prior to Ihram, there are certain things which are mustahab. And one of the things which are mustahab is applying perfume to your body. And the Prophet ﷺ, كان عائشة رضي الله عنها, the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, Aisha رضي الله عنها, used to apply perfume, طيب, on the head of the Prophet ﷺ and on him before he entered in the state of Ihram. So before going into Ihram, yes, you should put on perfume and smell good. However, as soon as you enter Ihram, it becomes haram upon you, right, to put on perfume or any type of perfume on your clothing or your body. السادس قتل الصيد البري وهو ما كان وحشيا مباحا فأما الأهلية فلا يحرم وصيد البحر مباح. Killing game or animals of the land which are wild animals that are permissible to hunt. So we're not allowed to kill these animals. We're not allowed to go hunting, right? So you can't go hunting for deer or hunting for whatever land animals are hunted. As for domesticated animals, it is not forbidden to kill them for food. So for example, if you have your own flock of sheep, or you have your own chickens, you have your own livestock, it is permissible for you to slaughter them and eat them. For example, on the way to Hajj or Umrah, it would be traditionally, if back in the days in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and in those days they would go with some livestock, in order to feed themselves on the way, right? So they are allowed to slaughter those and kill them to eat. Regarding game of the sea, so animals of the sea, hunting animals from the sea, then it is permissible. So you can fish if you like. Then he says, السابع عقد النكاح حرام ولا فدية فيه. Marriage is forbidden, so the contract of nikah is forbidden, but there is no expiation due upon it. So it is forbidden to do a nikah, right, to get married, to do an act of nikah. However, there's no fidya, and the reason is because that marriage is invalid aslan. So that act is batil aslan. So then there is as if it did not happen, right? So it's as if it did not happen. So there is no fidya as well. Then he says, الثامن المباشرة لشهوة فيما دون الفرج فإن أنزل بها ففيها بدنة وإلا ففيها شاة وحجه صحيح. Then he says, sexual intimacy short of intercourse. So any type of fondling, if one ejaculates semen, as a result of that, he must offer a camel. So he must offer a camel as an expiation. If he does not ejaculate, then he must offer a sheep. So either a sheep or a camel, depending on if you ejaculate or not, and his hajj is valid. So as long as he does not commit intercourse itself, his hajj is still valid. التاسع الوطء في الفرج فإن كان قبل التحلل الأول فسد الحج ووجب المضيء في فساده والحج من قابل وعليه بدنة وإن كان بعد التحلل الأول ففيه شاء ويحرم من التنعيم ليطوف محرما وإن وطئ في العمرة أفسدها وعليه شاء ولا يفسد النسك بغيره. Then he says intercourse. Number 9 is intercourse itself. If it is done before tahallul al-awwal, before getting out of the state of ihram, the first getting out of the state of ihram. So when we make hajj, there are 2 times when we get out of the state of ihram. The first one is when you get out of the state of ihram. However, you are not allowed to have intercourse. Everything else you can do. You can wear perfume, you can wear regular clothing, and this is the first tahallul. And then the second one is when you complete your hajj, then everything is halal. So if you commit the act of intercourse before the first coming out of ihram, his hajj is invalid, but he still completes it. So he does not get, his hajj is invalid. He does not get counted. That hajj does not count for him. Yet he still has to complete the hajj, even though it is invalid, and perform hajj the following year. And in addition to that, he must offer a camel as a sacrifice. If it is after the first tahallul, so if it is after, in between the first tahallul and the final tahallul when you get out of ihram, then a sheep is due upon him, and he must go into ihram again, full ihram, to Tan'im. So he goes to Tan'im, he goes outside of the borders of the haram, so that he will be in the state of ihram to perform his tawaf. If he has intercourse during umrah, it spoils it, it basically invalidates it, and a sheep is due upon him. Nothing other than this will spoil the rights of hajj and umrah. So there's nothing else that will invalidate your hajj or your umrah except intercourse. وَالْمَرْأَةُ كَالرَّجُلِ إِلَّا أَنَّ إِحْرَامَهَا فِي وَجْهِهَا وَلَهَا لُبْسُ الْمَحِيضِ. And then he concludes by saying that the ruling for women is like that of men, except that what she wears in her ihram, and that is pertains only to her face, she may wear sewn and fitted clothing. So her ihram, she has to show her face, right? She must show her face during the state of ihram. And number 2 is she is allowed to wear fitted clothing. So she can wear an abaya, a dress. She can wear pants underneath. That is fine. Other than that, everything else is the same for men and women. She has to cover the head also, yes. Yes.
What about the belt? Anybody can put the belt?
Can you put the belt or not? So the best thing is not to put the belt on. However, the scholars have, a lot of them have permitted the belt. They have permitted the belt in the case of wearing ihram, because it's not really like a garment or a clothing.
Yeah.
You're just tying up your ihram, right? Yeah. Wallahu a'lam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.